Hello, and welcome to UCU Live. We are here every week at the moment because we are discussing the higher education ballot and the We Are the University campaign. Hello, I'm Jo Grady. As ever, please let us know your name in the chat and where you are joining us from. I'm really delighted tonight to be joined by three incredibly hardworking branches, 4 reps from those branches who are fighting to save jobs locally, as well as helping get the vote out in our UK-wide campaign. So first of all, we have Stanley from Brunel, a university who is targeting our members rather than working with them to find solutions to the university's problems. We also have Lopa and Jenny from Nottingham, a university that is not struggling, but has seen 600 staff already leave through voluntary severance and are looking to get rid of even more so they can increase their surplus. And we are also joined by Claire from Edinburgh, an institution with literally billions of pounds of reserves, but has decided to target £140 million of savings from our members. Tonight, we are going to be hearing their stories about what is happening in their branches. We will be inspired by their fighting, and they will also tell us how, alongside all of this work, they are getting the vote out in our national ballot. I've said it once, but I will say it again. The branch reps of UCU are the backbone of this union. So let's get to it. Stanley, welcome to UCU Live. Let's start with the background. What has and is currently going on at Brunel?
Thanks so much, Jo. I'm going to share a few stats from a letter that our branch committee sent to our local MP. First, for 2024-25 alone, Brunel put more than a third of our staff at risk of compulsory redundancy. We lost more than 465 staff members, amounting to around 20% of the workforce, as a result of multiple redundancy schemes. There was the Academic Redundancies 1 or AR1 scheme. For professional services staff, there is the Target Operating Model or TOM1 exercise and the TOM2 exercise. That's what happened in 2024-25. Brunel are at it again. We're in the midst of our second academic mass redundancy exercise. Just within the past 48 hours, members and non-members alike have started to receive their CR letters. So we're in the midst of a dark fight, to put it mildly.
That's incredibly just sobering, isn't it? I've been on your picket lines, 20% of the workforce. I think it'd be helpful to maybe talk a bit about what the branch have done, how people have come together to fight this. Just to kind of maybe talk a little bit about that, if that's okay, Stan?
Absolutely. We ended up, through the work of the regional office and National UCU, were able to place Brunel on the list of academic boycotted institutions, so what's known as gray listing. That happened back in April. Brunel have refused to negotiate meaningfully, and we remain open to talks. Brunel have been unresponsive to the point of being not accurate in representations that they have made to media, for example, claiming that they've engaged in meaningful consultation when that has not been the case. It's a point that Jo has made publicly. It's a point that we have made privately and as well as publicly. So we have taken every opportunity that we could, going to council. We've been to Parliament. We have gotten the word out, and Brunel have refused to budge. So that's where we stand at this point.
Thank you. And I know there is a petition that you have at Brunel, and that will be in the Friday email tomorrow. But, given you're here and we're chatting, is there anything that either we as the UK Union can do or the wider membership who are watching that you might ask people to do for you and Brunel and the branch and the members there?
I mean, definitely. You referred to that petition. If you go to our webpage, you will see that petition. You can sign on. More than 100 individuals have signed so far. Uh, Support our boycott, our academic boycott as well. I'm the member of one professional organization who chose to move their conference over the summer away from Brunel. And Brunel, in turn, withdrew the funding that they had pledged. So we need to get the word out, I think, within and beyond the membership as to what's happening at Brunel and the ways that our branch, in fact, that UCU in general, have been fighting back.
Thanks, Dan. Don't go anywhere. Well, you're not going to go anywhere. I say don't go anywhere, but I'm going to be bringing you back in later. Lopa and Jenny from Nottingham, welcome to UCU Live. Thank you for coming along. I know you are exceptionally busy. Who would like to let the people watching know what has been happening at Nottingham?
I can.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? So what's been happening at Nottingham? I mean, first, thank you, Joe, for coming over last week. Well, I mean, it's sad to hear from Brunel about what's happening there. Exactly the same thing has been happening here. What we've got, I mean, it's absolutely awful. We've got all these cuts that is sort of more ideologically driven rather than actually necessary. Saying that, originally, just after COVID, our university decided to buy some big vanity project where they spent nearly 100 million quid. And then they went, oh dear, now what do we do? And so they did a SMARS project, which they lost about 297 people that was lost. That wasn't enough. That was in 2024. So they started this thing called Future Nottingham. And in phase one, they went after professional services, our APM colleagues. And in just 1 year, we've lost about 350 of them. Now they're looking at a vision called phase two, which literally is something that Edinburgh had done, where they're squishing down faculties from 5 to 3, schools from 26 to 10, losing degrees. It's absolutely awful. The actual money they want to save, and because they want a surplus, means, again, with the calculations, being educated people, we can lose several hundred academics as well. And as well as the remaining APM are, again, under pressure. And the worst thing is they want to do it all in 1 year, which is just awful. And that's where we are.
As you say, this is just like a merry-go-round of bad ideas in the sector, implemented by managers who just mosey on off after they've created utter chaos. The branch have been doing a brilliant job. I was wondering if you could maybe just let people know watching what is next for the branch.
How do you mean next steps we're taking?
Yeah. And maybe how people could, assist and show support.
I mean, one of the great things we had was, as you know, we got, enormous numbers of members saying, yes, we're going to go on strike. And we did the first 4 weeks. We were totally all out. And then we've now, thank you, you see, you got the next 4 weeks. In between, the Vice Chancellor had offered us something, but it meant no CR till next February. We didn't buy it. We knew that would then affect the phase two, which they want going ahead. So there was an overwhelming vote to ask for another 4 weeks and see if they start negotiating with us. And that's where we are. Jenny, did you want to come in on that?
Yeah, I mean, other things that would be really helpful, really, is if people can send messages of support, join our pickets, keep talking about the work that all of us are doing. Keep messaging it, keep publicising it. I mean, being on this programme tonight is fantastic, so we can kind of share our experiences with others probably going through similar things. So we just have to keep talking about it, getting that message out there. And it was great, as Lopa said, Joe, that you were there last week. And we're really grateful for anyone coming and joining us and supporting our fight.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jenny. Before I come to you, Claire, in Edinburgh, Because in and amongst all of this, you know, incredibly important but exhausting branch work to save jobs, we are also seeing a tremendous effort of get the vote out. And I just wanted to show a few pictures from our socials of the ballots that we have been getting returned. So I don't know if our admin can pop them up. It's spooky season after all. So yeah, thank you for that one. Voting in UCU colours, how amazing. A Nottingham member, I'm sure you will notice. Voting, ballots are serious, and this member's taking it very seriously. And what is it that Yoda said? I can't remember, something about fear and hope, but great stuff. Hope voting as well. So Claire, if I could go back to you. We've heard about Brunel, you know, an institution absolutely committed to bureaucratic cruelty and slashing its staff to the bone. We've heard about Nottingham, inspired by Edinburgh, it would seem, and cutting staff to the bone in pursuit of a surplus. Would you like to talk us through what you are facing locally in Edinburgh?
Sure, yeah, it's a similar story here. We had management announce in February that they wanted to cut 140 million from the budget, 90 million of that to be staff over the next 18 months. So we calculate that could be as many as 1,800 jobs, which is, you know, unprecedented, real crisis for a city the size of Edinburgh. And hundreds of redundancies are ongoing all the time because people on guaranteed hours contracts are finding them not renewed, and professional services are being centralised. So lots of jobs being lost there. So we've been campaigning hard against that, making the point that cuts of that scale and pace are unnecessary, unfair, and totally counterproductive. As you said in your introduction, Joe, like the University of Edinburgh is one of the richest in the land, with assets of over 3 billion and significant reserves. There's no need for them to be making cuts of this scale and pace. The same story that colleagues have already recounted about the unfairness of this. It seems like management borrowed on the presumption that international student fee income would rise indefinitely, and then overspent on buildings. And so that was never a sustainable funding model, but it was the one they adopted. And so also some kind of other bad management decisions. We spent on a new finance scheme that turned out to be a disaster. So kind of that mix of local bad management or unaccountable management mixed with the national nationwide kind of results of marketisation of the sector. And counterproductive, we keep pointing out to management that cuts of this scale to staff are going to make teaching and research, you know, it's impossible to make that level of cuts without damaging teaching and research. So we point out all the time to management that this is counterproductive, but they're not hearing us. They're not hearing us. They refuse to rule out compulsory redundancies.
Yeah, the message never seems to land with management, does it, when you point out the very clear and obvious consequences of these actions? Utterly outrageous. The members have been rightly angry at a local level, Claire, I know this. How, as a branch, have you been engaging with members, and what has been the response?
So we've been taking strike action, and we particularly targeted open days because that's something that we know really kind of catches media attention. It can be quite disruptive. Management really don't like it, and that's been really, you know, we had lots of member engagement and a fantastic rally on a June open day. We targeted Welcome Week because we thought that might show management our resolve, but still no movement from them. What was encouraging is, even though we targeted Welcome Week, which is, you know, thousands of new first-year students on campus, they were very receptive. We've got wonderful support from the students. They really see the injustice of the cuts, and they know that, you know, our principal and our senior management are on these huge salaries, so they see intuitively the injustice of management on 400,000 salaries, making that many staff redundant. They see the injustice. They also see how the cuts will harm them. So huge support from students. So we've taken that strike action. We have coordinated with our Senate. So Senate's the leading academic body at Edinburgh, and they've been very good and even held a vote of no confidence in the principal, which passed, which was incredible, but no movement yet. We have also focused, we've had a strong political campaign trying to get our members of Parliament and members of the Scottish Parliament to see the scale of the crisis that we've got both locally in Edinburgh and UK-wide. That's quite challenging in Scotland, because what you see happening is the Labour politicians blame SNP, who are our governing party in Scotland. They say, oh, it's because you have free tuition fees in Scotland, and those tuition fees aren't quite enough to pay for each student. So it's really an SNP problem, and the SNP blame Labour. They say your visa scheme is making it hostile and we don't have so many international students. Both of these things have a grain of truth, but they are not the cause of the crisis in this sector. But we see that, you know, we see the way that the crisis becomes a political football. So it's challenging, but we have not given up on that, and we continue to target politicians as well. I've said quite a lot because
they rightly deserve.
Yeah. I'll say one more thing, if I may. We have just reballoted to continue our strike mandate because it just ran out, and we've had resounding success in that. So delighted to report that great turnout, and 86% of members voted for strike action, and 94% for action short of a strike. And in that, we included a marking and assessment boycott. So members are really standing strong, and delighted to have our student support, and we're hoping that new renewed ballot will remind management just how focused we are. And the good news is they have then called a negotiation meeting for Monday, so maybe.
Well, what better example of we are the university and we are not going away. Thank you so much. I want to bring us all in now for a group chat, and I'm going to throw out some questions and let's kind of knock them together. So the first one is, you all have so much going on locally. I know you must never sleep and be incredibly stressed. How are you still managing to get the vote out in this national ballot? And maybe if I go to Nottingham, I don't know if Jenny or Lopa wants to come in.
Okay, I will. Jenny can.
Yeah.
One of the things that we do have is, it's a fantastic rep system. I'm sure it sounds like the other universities do the same. And then they are very much involved in talking to members in each of these schools and so on. So our members actually have been fantastic. And when, initially about get the vote out, we were wondering, because of the local problem, whether people would still want to vote. But what was interesting is that the dialogue has changed, because all the three things you're talking about working conditions and stress, about the shrinking of different HEs, all of this and the loss of livelihoods completely clicked, and members are eager to listen. And in fact, what we have been doing is the reps have been checking with them to see if they've voted. They are posting pictures on our social media as people are doing it. So members are engaging with the UK-wide system. And then initially this thing about, can we go out on strike again over the low pay? Now it's like, for goodness sake, how much more will you devalue us as people? So no, as workers, sorry, that is not good enough that you're only offering 1.4 when inflation is whatever. So all of that came in with how they're engaging with the whole UCU ballot, UK-wide ballot. Yeah.
Thanks, Lopa. Stan?
Yeah.
Oh, Jenny, go. I'll bring Stan in a sec. Go on, Jenny.
Yeah, no. I was just saying everything that said. Our members are becoming much more politicized than usual, actually, and much more sort of agitated. We're also getting a lot of new members on board because they're seeing what's happening and they're thinking, blimey, I want to be part of the union now. We have a very active reps network, and also we're meeting weekly with our members because of the action that we've got going on at the moment. So it is quite easy to get our message out and to motivate our members to vote.
That's excellent and always good to hear about. I have to say, whenever I've spoken to Nottingham, and Lopa's already said it, one of the most effective local rep networks I've ever come across. And, you know, you, Jenny, how frequently you're meeting people and keeping people together and keeping the momentum there is amazing. Stan.
Yeah, so it's frantically making notes about the discouraging and encouraging aspects of what's happening at Brunel. First, the discouraging part, our branch committee have been decimated by redundancies. Simply getting enough folks mobilized to get the vote out has been a challenge. Those of us who are still have jobs at Brunel are involved in, many of us are involved in casework. That's certainly my situation, also heavily involved in negotiations. But what is happening is that we're putting out a call, especially for those members who maybe haven't been quite as high profile, to step forward and help with getting the vote out. That's happening. And especially many of our professional services staff are stepping up in that capacity. So that's the encouraging part from our standpoint.
Thanks, Stan. Thanks, Dan. Sorry, that was a bit of a delay there. Thank you. That's fabulous. Claire, how are you? You've just won a second ballot, which is tremendous. How are you still managing to get the vote out?
Yeah, I'd say it's been particularly challenging in Edinburgh because the national ballots come so close on the heels, indeed overlapped with our local ones. So tactically, we've kind of not really started the Get the Vote Out campaign for the national because we had to get the local over the line. But we are lucky also to have a fantastic network of two fantastic membership secretaries and a great network of local contacts. So now we're gearing up to really focus on the national, get the vote out. But it is challenging when this overlaps. But members recognise that this is not the union being difficult. They recognise this is the legacy of Tory anti-trade union laws. So there's a certain sympathy. There also is, I think members see the links between our local campaign and the national, like that we know that the root causes of the crisis in higher education is the marketisation of the sector. It's not something we're going to be able to solve locally. So there is also that willingness to participate in the national Get the Vote Out ballot campaign too. Like Stanley says, it's tricky because branch committee, we're lucky to have a big branch in Edinburgh. We're over 3,000 members. That is wonderful in many ways, but it also makes getting the vote out challenging. There's a lot of doors to knock on. But and it also means, I think the same people like you described are also maybe our negotiators. They're also our caseworkers. It's a lot of work. So it's challenging times, but lots of solidarity, lots of motivation.
That's very nice to hear, solidarity and motivation. The one thing that is worth just, acknowledging though, redundancy announcements like this, they create a lot of casework, don't they? They create so much work for you. I know when I was a rep and we were dealing with redundancies at my institution, I've never felt more stressed in my life at that time. It's you really, it's just incredibly difficult all round. One of the things I wanted to ask everyone, we've got thousands of UCU members right now watching this via social media, whether it's on X or elsewhere on Blue Sky. I was wondering, and I'm going to come to you first, Jenny, if that's okay. If you were to have one message to UCU members watching this broadcast tonight, what would it be?
It would be don't give up. And, together we're stronger.
Fabulous. Thank you. Lopa?
I don't think I can beat that. Absolutely. That's it's really worth it. We cannot let the UK higher education system go down. it would just be awful. Think about not only the knowledge advance we give, the students we teach, all of that, this mad sort of decision making. Let's work together and let's just save our universities. Yeah.
Stan, what would be your message for people to take away?
Yes, I'd say use every tool at your disposal. In fact, don't just use every tool in the toolbox. Empty that toolbox. Maybe create your own tools along the way. I mean, we've used a vote of no confidence. We've had strike action, as Joe referred to. We've had action short of strike, gray listing, you name it, we've done it. And my attitude is, okay, what more can we be doing? So I hope that members across the UK hold on to that message, that we need to challenge ourselves. What more can we possibly do? Because together we can win.
Love that, Stan. Claire?
Yes, hard to top these. I suppose it can feel overwhelming, but sometimes I think when I'm at the point of thinking this is too exhausting, imagining the current crop of management getting away with this, destroying our sector. And that can sometimes give me the motivation to think, no, we're just not going to let that happen. And we get up and we fight again.
I really like that, Claire, and I hate to be like a millennial and bring this back to TikTok, but I saw a TikTok video once which was like, when you think of giving up, just remember this means your enemies win. And I'm not saying like management are enemies, I'm not making that narrative, but at the minute in this national ballot, we're being offered 3 lots of nothing on pay, nothing on protecting our national agreements, and nothing on saving jobs. So if you're not voting yes in this ballot, you're essentially sending a message that you are happy with the status quo and, you're going to accept that. I'm sorry to put you all on the spot again, but I came from a branch meeting at LSE earlier. It was a really, really good branch meeting. We had a great discussion. We had lots of chats about why people maybe weren't voting yes, or what they needed to make them vote yes, what they needed to convince them. So I'm going to set you all a big challenge on the spot. I'm an undecided UCU member. You have 30 seconds to convince me to vote. What is your pitch? Jenny, you unmuted, which I feel like means you just volunteered yourself forward.
Yeah, well, with everything now, because of the age I am, I always think of the next generation. And I just think, imagine if this was your child, your nephew, your niece coming into the sector, and this is what they're going to have, shitty pay, poor contracts, no understanding that, no confidence that their job is going to last for more than a year. Is that what you want for the next generation?
No. Lopa?
Oh, no, I'll come back. Do one of the others.
Yeah. Claire, Stan?
I'm happy to jump in.
So
if we don't, thank you, Joe. If we don't put up a fight now, individually and collectively, then we will forfeit the battle for our livelihoods. We've seen, at least at Brunel, what's happened with redundancy so far. Many colleagues are scared. We should be scared. And we need to fight like our livelihoods are on the line, because they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lopa, did you want to go?
Yes.
No
absolutely. It's fine. Absolutely. Stan just said it. Because what can I say? I say, look, are you watching it? What is happening to the world anyway at the moment? And then you look at what's happening in UK, HE. You can't stay quiet. You've got to vote. You've got to stand up, because otherwise, how many livelihoods are going to be going? And this whole thing about, where we are with the research we do, how do you stop doing that? You won't be able to do that. The teaching you do, the students you love. What is happening? You have to stand up and fight.
Thanks, Lopa. Claire, the final pitch is yours if you want it.
I can't top any of those. That's exactly it. Great. What side are you on?
Yeah. Well, you've been brilliant throughout anyway. So thank you all so much for joining. I can't really add much to what we've heard tonight, can I? Our members across the UK are under attack. Our courses are under attack. You know, we've got 15,000 jobs currently hanging in the balance, 4,000 courses that have already been cut. Real terms, pay cuts, job cuts, mass insecurity for far too many people. And the truth is that we can fight back on a mass basis, and that is through this ballot. So please, I hope you've been inspired by the fighting spirit that we've seen in our branches that are right on the front line. Please do redouble your efforts. If you haven't voted yet, make sure it is the first thing you do tomorrow. Stick it in the post. If you haven't had your ballot, the replacement ballot link is open. Go to our homepage. If you have voted, well done. That's job one. Job two is convincing your colleagues to do the same. Thank you to our speakers once again. Thank you to Stan, to Claire, to Jenny, to Lopa. Thanks for coming along and watching. There is one final thing that I want to share with you, and it really speaks to the heart of some of the contributions tonight. Our amazing videographer at UCU spent some time in Wales last week. They visited Bangor and they spoke to our member there about what their life has been like in higher education. We're going to show that to you now. If you're on the fence about voting in this ballot, please watch and then think what you need to do. You need to vote because far too many members in our sector are living a life just like the person you are going to see in this documentary. So thank you for watching. We'll be sharing this mini documentary. It's no more than 5 minutes across our social media and via email, but I'm previewing it with you right now. So thanks again, everyone, for coming along, and please watch.
I had always wanted to be a teacher. I had always wanted to be a teacher. I used to line up my teddies and I would teach them. They were the most educated toys in the world. In 2015, I attended my first open day here. I remember walking around thinking, this is it, this is going to be my new home. I did my bachelor's here, I did my master's here during COVID, and I started my PhD. Immediately there was an email that went around. They were looking for 3 graduate teaching assistants for foundation year programme that was starting. They needed staff to undertake the modules, to develop them. I was offered the job. It was my dream job, and I did that diligently for 2 years. On the second year I started to feel like something was off. I started to wonder, I'm not just leading seminars, I'm leading whole lecture series and developing modules from the ground up for a brand new programme. I remember speaking to a colleague who was explaining my teaching hours and the kind of stuff I'm teaching, and instead of looking interested, they looked confused. I realised that I was being massively underpaid. Going into my third year, I was told by my manager that at the end of this third year, the university is going to try and get rid of you. I felt, devastated. That's 10 years of my life that I've given to this place. UCU stepped in. They were able to secure us permanent contracts. We were a bit suspicious. We kind of realised pretty quickly what was going on because 6 months later, Bangor University announced job cuts. I knew straight away, that's me. I'm going to be at risk. There's no way around it. It comes back to just a feeling of invisibility. We briefly had another manager and they didn't even know who I was. When you don't know what you're losing, it's really easy to make that cut. It was a horrible time. From February until August. And it took a lot to stay. What it really came down to was a breach of contract. And that's the only reason why we're still here. I'm really looking forward to getting my ballot, and I'm looking forward to voting yes. Change is such a long time coming. The first thing is the issue with the pay rise. When we talk about inflation and pay rises and things, we're talking about percentages. But what I'm talking about and what my colleagues are talking about is how our lives can be put on hold by not being paid fairly. My husband and I want to adopt soon, and that keeps getting pushed back because we don't know if I'm going to be employed. We don't know if I can afford it. The other thing for me goes back to awareness for these issues in higher education. When I was going through this, I was talking to my family about it, and my granddad kept saying, I've never heard of anything like this happening. And so part of this ballot for me is asking the government to show that acknowledgement publicly so that people can start to understand this situation. As somebody who grew up working class, education became this tool for me to dig myself out of that background. Teaching in this space, it's so rewarding. I see so much of myself in my students. Higher education is for everybody. Anybody that wants it should have access to it.